Hey, welcome to my channel. I am in the middle of writing a dark fantasy novel. I have some other videos about that, but I haven't really talked too much about the details of my novel. I've kind of mentioned it briefly or talked about some of the process of writing, a little bit about the world and the characters, but in this video I'm going to go deep into the process, the novel, everything about it. So if you're interested in my dark fantasy novel, then this is the video for you. So I've chosen dark fantasy because my two favorite types of novels are fantasy and horror or thriller, and I really wanted to combine the two. I have a whole video about what is dark fantasy and what to know before writing dark fantasy from my research when I was looking into what readers expect from a dark fantasy novel, so I can be sure to meet the needs of those who read dark fantasy. In my experience, I haven't found that many dark fantasy novels, none that I really connected to, so I wanted to kind of write what I always wished I could read. Basically, that's what I'm doing with this novel. I want there to be surprise. I want there to be suspense. I don't want things to be obvious. And it's been a challenge to do that because for me, of course, everything's really obvious. So I'm really curious what readers will think if they figure out the twists and the turns. I also wanted horror elements. I wanted there to be some fear. I wanted the reader to feel a little uneasy, but at the same time, I wanted to bring in real problems that we are experiencing in the world, things that us as humans are doing to kind of destroy the world, and incorporate fantasy into that. So I have dragons and unicorns who once lived on the earth, and thousands of years ago they had to leave the earth's surface and go into hiding. They were banished, and they are discovering that the humans are just destroying their beloved planet. They are destroying the waters and the nature, and these dragons and these unicorns, they're really hurt by how careless humans are, how polluted the waters are, and how much garbage, how much consumption, how much waste humans have done, how humans have hurt nature. Coming from an indigenous background, I feel very tied to that culture because of the connection to nature. I always have a very strong connection to nature and the earth, and I feel pain for what the earth is going through. And I wanted to bring some of that pain and that fear that I have into my novel through the lens of these dragons and unicorns who feel that they could do so much better if they hadn't been banished, so much better to the earth than humans are doing. In my world, humans have no idea that dragons and unicorns ever existed. They're very much in the real world, our world. There's just these unknown creatures that are living still on the earth, but in the water and in the sky that humans have no idea about. So years ago, now almost 5 years ago, or maybe even longer, around 5 years ago, I created a tarot deck called Dragon Companions Tarot Deck. I drew the artwork and wrote meanings for each card that follows the traditional tarot layout and card descriptions, and I have brought this tarot deck, this concept of the deck, into my novel. So the dragons are searching for cards, and the cards in the novel are the exact tarot deck that I have created. So I have brought that deck into my novel, which I find really fun and exciting to be able to kind of repurpose something that I've put a lot of time, dedication, love, and commitment into, something that I've kind of poured myself into previously, and bring life back into that project, back into that tarot deck. In this novel, the tarot deck is like an ancient artifact that has been broken up. So the cards are scattered and the creatures have to find these cards. I probably should have mentioned in the beginning that there are very little humans in my story. I plan for this to be a series, and humans will become more active throughout the series, but in this first novel, it's a lot more focused on the dragons and the unicorns. And I lost my train of thought. So I think I was talking about tarot cards. So I've always worked with tarot. I enjoy using tarot in my daily life, and I do readings. I have always, as a child, been fascinated by tarot cards. So it's definitely something that I wanted to bring into my novel. And there's a lot of magic in these cards. There's a lot of mystery and hidden knowledge within the cards. There's actually magic stored in the cards that the creatures will find out. And discovering or unearthing these cards create a bunch of consequences, cause a little bit of chaos. I also feel that tarot cards really help bring light to shadows or things you may be ignoring or not seeing, which is something that is kind of a theme, bringing light to shadows in throughout the novel. I feel like this novel has been a really long time coming. I remember when I was around 6 or so years old, I went on an airplane ride from Canada to Germany, so it was a long flight, and I was really excited to be up in the clouds really high, and I would imagine unicorns flying in the clouds next to the plane. And I remember looking out the window. I had a window seat, and I would stare out the window at the clouds and hope to see a unicorn. This is also when I would watch Care Bears, and I loved the idea of just bears in the clouds kind of living up there in the sky above us. So I was on the watch for Care Bears and unicorns and things like that in the clouds. And when I didn't see any, I remember getting a piece of paper. I would always be drawing. I always had paper and crayons with me. So I got a piece of paper and I drew a unicorn on the paper and I stuck it up on the window, and I drew clouds on the paper, and I was like, here's my unicorn, just because I wanted so badly to see a mystical type of creature up in the clouds. I loved the idea of there being unknown things in our skies and down in the waters, places that we haven't reached yet, where we don't know what's there. There might be dragons there might be unicorns there. We don't know. We don't know what's beyond the places we've reached, and thinking that here on our earth we are sharing the space with a creature, an animal that we haven't discovered yet, we haven't met yet. And that's where the idea of dragons and unicorns living here on earth, but we have no knowledge of, or at one time we did have knowledge and we've lost that. They've become a myth because it's been so long since we've seen them or shared our earth with them, but they are still here. They are hidden, they are banished, and our misuse of the planet has caused them to kind of resurface again. I plan on creating videos for individual characters, so you will really get to know the characters, the dragons and the unicorns throughout my process of writing. I also really hope to show the balance between beauty and darkness, that there can be beauty in darkness, that through our shadows we can find beauty through looking at things that may be challenging or more uncomfortable or make us a little uneasy. There can be beauty in that. I love the contrast of beauty and dark, having really eerie or unknown things, but finding the beauty in that even if something is scary or uncomfortable or unknown, we can always find the good and what is beautiful in that, having the contrast between the two and knowing that everything has two sides. I know I've been kind of vague with everything, with the world and the characters and the plot. I'm not sure what to share yet since I'm not completely finished, and I do want there to be suspense. I do want there to be a thrilling aspect to the novel. I want there to be unease, so I don't want to share too much to take away from that unease or that suspense. I'm sure there will be lots more to come, but this is a little introduction to the novel that I'm writing, the process of creating it, and how long it has been. I really have been thinking of this since I've been a child, and I've tried writing it before, stopped for a few years, and now I've picked it up again and started right from the beginning again. So I'm really excited to finish it. I'm well over halfway through the first novel, so I expect it to be available 2026, and I'm already getting really excited for writing the second book in the series. But one thing at a time. I'll finish the first one. But I hope you stay and follow my journey. I hope you are interested and just as excited as me. If you are interested, please like and subscribe for similar videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.